It is perfectly fine if you don't want a relationship. I am happy for you if you feel a fullness of your life, if you are single and you love your wonderful life and you do not want to change it. This video is not for you. This video is for you if you would like a relationship, but you keep talking about how you don't want to settle. What you're really saying is, I don't trust myself to pick a good man. And I'm so afraid of being hurt that I'm not going to enter the dating game at all. This mentality is what is keeping you single. And I saw it show up in the comment section on my TikTok video. I did a short of the video I did about Dr. Cheyenne and why she's still single. And people had things to say. Someone said, if you just go for it and get married and you have a low value partner, you still do everything alone and get judged. If we're thinking about the mentality of the person, there are core values that inform this perspective. One of the ideas is a low value partner will lead to you doing things alone. And I care about what other people think about the partner I choose, so I'm concerned about being judged. There's so many things to pick apart here. There are men who are low value, with in our standards, it's really not rich. There are men who have regular jobs, 9-to-5 jobs. Maybe he owns a small business. If he owns a small business, I don't think it's low value, but if the business is working, there's all these entrepreneurs that aren't making any money. If he has a legitimate business, he's probably making more than most people. But if you have a regular average guy, it is not a guarantee that he's also going to be low functioning. Part of vetting a man is figuring out, does he have the qualities that would mean partnering with him would make my life easier, or would it be harder? You have to ask the right questions. You have to be in the right situations to assess this. Next comment, same person, but the energy of other comments were very similar. Look, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can wait for the right person and hold your ground right, but then if you don't find that person in time, you get examined like something is wrong with you. Again, a lot of the thinking that happens in our society right now with single women. It is true that marriage is worshipped in our society and people put it on this pedestal and somehow you're better because you're attached to a man. It's not true. There's lots of very, very unhappy married people. But the idea that something is wrong with your singleness, it's okay if they think it. Let them think it. You don't have to believe it. And you don't have to worry about what they think so that you won't be single, so that people could judge you less. We don't want to care what people think. We want to be able to make decisions that are best for you without being concerned about what's in the minds of other people. You're not living in their minds. You're living in your mind. This is your life. Make decisions that are best for you. Then this idea of running out of time, or I won't be able to find the right partner. If my standards are so high, no one is ever going to be able to meet them. You hear the language around that? That is the thought process into leaving a comment like this. We want to switch that to the right person will find me at the right time. That there is definitely a person for you who will meet your standards which are informed by your values. Not this superficial, he has to be this height and he has to make this amount of money. That is not going to get you the man you want. You might get those tick, 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 but the core of the man you will not want. I promise you, in a year, 2 years, 5 years, you are going to be thinking, why was this what I thought I wanted? Why do I think I wanted this? No. I'm going to insert my short because I love it so much, of the feeling you should be going for in your relationship. It's important to me to be well loved. It's important to me to be cherished. It's important for me to have the freedom to experience and travel and eat good food, to have fun, to be able to relax. Let me read you my response. There is always a risk when it comes to love, but when you've done most of the work and show up healed, that's what you'll attract, a loving partner. I fully believe this, okay? Law of attraction always applies, never lies, okay? They go on to say, yes, but unless you are a witch, because I don't know why you would say witch, you can't control if you ever meet that person. Being single is looked on as some type of disorder in our society for women, and that's terrible. I agree. Being single is looked down upon by men and women because there are lots of women who've bought into the patriarchy and that think if you are not attached to a man, you are not of good worth. It's all lies. What's important for you to do is push back against the ideals of society and say, what works for me? Do I really want to be single, or do I really want to be in a relationship? If I really want to be in a relationship, how do I get into a loving relationship? You don't do that by thinking that somebody else is going to fix it for you or that it's hopeless. You do that by being very intentional. And you don't have to be a witch. I promise you, you don't have to be a witch. I'm not a witch. In order to find and attract the love that you're looking for, you just have to embody that love, like I said before. I'm obsessed with books, so I will recommend Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, because the book is about vulnerability, but also about being brave and challenging yourself to communicate with people in general, but also specifically about romantic love. Sometimes you aren't going to get what you want. And honestly, if we're looking at the God perspective, that's a blessing, because what's for you is for you, and God will give you what is for you. And I promise you, if you're patient enough, if you do the work, it will be better than you were ever thinking it could be. In the meantime, I want you to focus on other things. I have about 5 things I want you to focus on. Focus on healing. If you are unaware of what it is that you're doing wrong or the areas that you need further feedback in, I would encourage you to get with a therapist or a coach so that they can give you feedback on what it is you're doing wrong. The specifics of healing look different to everybody, but generally speaking, it's about knowing your own self-worth, building your self-esteem, expecting good things from the world, talking kindly to yourself so that when you go out into the world, you're not always in pain or triggered by something that somebody else does. You're living life on your terms. Next, focus on learning about men in general. I am surprised at the amount of women that don't seem to understand the thinking process of men. There are some podcasts, listen to men. If they are, I don't want you to listen to a podcast that's about, what do you call it? Men shaming women or being negative or, talking down on relationships or marriage. My sister really enjoys that podcast, Shits and Giggles, or is it Shits and Gigs, whatever it is. There are men on that show. Part of what they're doing is giving their male perspective on topics. Maybe you need to get some access to men just talking and being themselves so that you can learn about how they think. I also think, what's her name? Tora Sense gives a good description of men and what men want for the beginning process of dating. I don't recommend her podcast for if you're 6 months in to dating, but I think she can give you some information on what men are like. Also do your own research, look at the men in your life and see how are they motivated? Why do they do the things that they do? Do they know when they've met somebody that they really like? How do they know who they can just have sex with versus not? Figure it out, pay attention, observe men, the men in your life, the men you have access to, the men you see on TV, the men who are on these podcasts, listen to them. You get a spectrum of men, right? Because there's the divine masculine and there's also the really toxic masculinity. A lot of men fall somewhere in between. Most men are not in their divine. That's just a fact. Most men are not in the divine, but they may be striving for the divine. Focus on how to date, which is similar to Tora Sense, what she talks about in her podcast. I think it's very important to date without, this is my husband, or to date without, I have to have sex on the first date. No, you don't, girl. The purpose of dating is to get to know yourself and the other person in the process. Going on dates, dating casually without sex, right? You set a time limit for yourself and you say, I'm going to date for 3 months without having sex with anybody. Have you done this before? Can you do that? Do that. But also, I'm going to date without putting all this pressure on myself to find the one. I'm going to just have fun. I'm going to go on a date. I'm going to have good conversation and let's see if it goes to another date. But I'm not going to put all my eggs into one basket. I'm not going to put all my hopes and dreams onto this one person who maybe last night was with another woman and already has his dream woman in his mind. You don't know. Dating is a lot about a numbers game. What you want to do is set yourself up for the best possible circumstances. So once you're healed, you meet people, you know what you like, you know the type of guy you like, then you can be more serious in who you are going to vet, which is my next point. You really need to learn how to ask these men questions. And you really need to learn how to listen when they're talking. Because men, if you let them talk long enough, they will tell on themselves. So you really want to have a good screening process for, is this a person who is likely to waste my time? As in, not even be an enjoyable date, right? There is no conversation to be had. He doesn't like to talk. or he's always on his phone. You need to pick up on the signs that a person is giving about who they are and what their values are. The actions that we do give us some insight into what the deeper values are. You need to figure out what your values are so that they can inform your standards and your expectations from other people. But listen to men. If you want a hardworking man, right? He's not going to be available 24/7. If you want a man with money, he's not going to be available at the drop of a dime. If you want a man of integrity, if you want a family man, it comes with a certain set of characteristics. You decide what is most important to you and act accordingly. But you have to ask the questions, the hard questions about money, about sex, about exes, about healing, about trauma, about beliefs, about habits. How does he live his life? You need to figure it out. So do not be afraid of asking questions. If you are afraid, that may be something to work on in therapy or something to journal about, because you need to ask the question anyway. You sit back, I say practice with like low stakes. You practice with a stranger and asking questions. But you need to get in the flow of asking real questions to get to the deeper meat of who a person really genuinely is. Like aside from what do they call it? The representative or the mask that they show for the first 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, you have to ask the hard questions. And then last is focus on having fun in all areas of your life. One of the recommendations a lot of dating coaches give is go out and live your life. Like after you heal, after you understand men, after you know how to vet a man, I still want you to be doing things that are not men-centered. I want you to have a life. I want you to have hobbies. I want you to have genuine friendships. I want you to have a full life where you do all the things that you want to be doing. Not like all the time, right? Nobody's life is perfect. But I want you to generally really, really enjoy your life. Enjoy doing the things that you like. Enjoy your hobbies. Enjoy the people you pick. Whatever it is that you like doing, make sure you do more of that. And if you want to meet a man, please have some of those things be outside the house. You have to leave, girl. I know there's some people who've met their guy at the door, coming to their door. That is atypical. What we want to do is expose ourselves, put ourselves in circumstances where we are in a healed position to objectively look at another person, gauge their energy, have a fun, light conversation, not put all of, my future is going to be this one man. No, just be easy, be light, be free flowing. We're supposed to be having fun in this life, not having this hard time and all this rigidity about what's supposed to be happening. So go and do more fun things, more enjoyable things in your life. If you don't meet them online, I do think it's good to have an online access strategy. Like you need a strategy. I think it's fun to meet people online, but I also want you to be out living your life and exposing yourself to people, places, things that you enjoy. You are more likely to meet a man that way. When you are living in your joy, he probably also is living in his joy. He's gonna have his stuff. We all have our stuff. Nobody's perfect. But generally speaking, you're looking for someone that is as aligned as you in terms of loving on themselves, being kind to themselves, and expecting good things from the world. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Share this video with a woman you think needs some feedback. And thank you for watching.